Hello, everyone. How are you this beautiful day that the Lord has made? I'm Karen Jane Casey on the podcast Turn to God with Carin. And this being Friday, it's Karen's Book Corner. What do I share on Karen's Book Corner? Well, I've written several books, and I often share the background or a little piece of the book, and always I read a little bit from it. But also, I may share with you works that other authors have written. Maybe they have shared something with me that I can pass on to you. Or maybe there's the background behind it that you would like to know about. Or a story, how I relate to it or you can relate to it. Anyway, it's all about reading books and sharing. And today it is A New Song Rises Up. This book was published last year, and it's nonfiction. It's where I share little bits and pieces of my journey and what I learned from it. And some of it was very hard lessons to be learned. But also it has a lot about different concepts, such as putting on the full armor of God, sowing and reaping. What we sow into life, that we may also reap. We will also reap. And the good news of Jesus. I talked about sin. Today, we're going to go over the topic of chapter 13. Can you run the race? Can you run the race? Has there ever been a time when you had decided to do something, maybe a project, and then all kinds of difficulty came along, distractions, busyness, and you gave up? Or maybe it was your calling in life, and the world gave you reason to feel like a failure, and you felt like your purpose was just not going to work out. Well, that would be very sad, but I have encouragement for you, and I have it written in my storyline here, so I'm going to read about a page and a half, or, I think it's less than that. This is about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I just love that story. You may remember the story told in Daniel 3 about three brave young men of faith, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. King Nebuchadnezzar had made an image of gold, an idol. Everyone was to fall down and worship this idol or be thrown into a burning fiery furnace. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to do this. They decided to serve the living God regardless of the circumstances. The king went into an angry rage. Still, he gave them another opportunity to fall down and worship his idol. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God whom we serve is able to save us. He will rescue us from your power, your majesty. But even if he doesn't, we want to make it clear to you, your majesty, that we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue you have set up. That's Daniel 3:17 through 18. In other translations, verse 18 says, but if not, these courageous, faithful men were willing to lose their lives if that was God's will. Regardless of the threats, they were not willing to disobey God's commandments. They were thrown into the furnace after it was made even hotter than before, and these men were tied up. Even the men who threw them in were burned. But when the king and others looked in, they saw a fourth person walking inside the furnace with them, who had the form like a son of David. These brave men were delivered from harm. In verse 28, King Nebuchadnezzar praised and blessed the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So, have you ever had something you had decided to do and others kept on, and you felt like you just couldn't hold yourself up anymore? Or maybe you were enticed to do a crime with other people, and you had to stand up and say, I'm not going to do this. I love it that Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego said, but if not. It's like, my God will help me out of this situation. But if not, I will still serve him. I will not give up. I will keep on. I will press on. I will run my race that I was meant to do. So you can think of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were willing to even be thrown into a fiery furnace. That is really not letting go, not compromising your faith, not compromising. So if you're sure that the Lord has given you this purpose to do, can you say, no matter how bad things get or how long it takes to accomplish what I need to do, I will do it. And God will help me in this instance. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. Today He will help me, but if not, I will still keep pressing on. So we can thank these fellows for encouraging us to press on in our race, whatever that is, to keep on going and not give up. Because when you give up, you have lost the game. You're not going to accomplish what you wanted if you give up. You got to stay in the race and keep pressing on. So anyway, that's in A New Song Rises Up. And like I said, this was reflections that I gave of things that happened in my journey and what I learned from them and what the Lord has to say. But also, I have a study guide where individuals who read my storyline can have the opportunity then to explore their own journey and see what they've learned through it. It might be surprising. And anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this little episode about A New Song Rises Up, pressing on, run your race, and if it doesn't look good at first, say, I will continue to press on, and just think about Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego for your encouragement. So I am Carin Jane Casey, author, speaker, podcaster, domestic violence victim advocate, and ambassador for Christ. Stay tuned for Turn to God with Carin on Mondays, where we share topics about hope for healing, and on Wednesdays, where we have Sword of the Spirit, we take a few scriptures and we look at them and tell stories and just figure out, what could this be about? And then, of course, every first and third Friday, we have new material for Carin's Book Corner. Please go to my website. That's where you can find out about all these books, and you can purchase books, but also you can go to the contact page and contact me. It's CarinJaneCasey.com. And I love any kind of feedback you may have. Suggestions, comments are always welcome. So I want to thank you, and God bless.